Welcome to Straight from the Muzzle, folks, where we are anything but straight. My name is Space, and I will be your host for today. And no, it's not a spaced out episode, but it is a Happy Thanksgiving episode. Whether you celebrate it or not, I am going to go ahead and put one out anyways. Got a couple of things on the list. So we've got 2 SpeakPipes. I'll explain what that is in a minute. We also have some stories I want to tell. And then I was going to go over some upcoming show topics for season 8, and then a kind of like a quick reminder as to how our schedule is going to work for 2022, because we're going to change it up again, but it won't be as hectic as it has been in the past. But before we really get into anything, I do want to just say that I am so grateful for so many things. Mostly the fact that our podcast has lasted this long, which is amazing. Not that I was expecting it wouldn't last this long. Of course, it would last this long. I plan on keeping it going for as long as I can. And I'm super grateful that we have an active chat. We have a Telegram chat. So if you don't have Telegram, or if you have Telegram and you want to chat with, great people who are like-minded, respected, well, they are respected, but they are also very respectful. Come inside, come and enjoy it. I always put a link to the Telegram group in the information below, so you guys have that. So that's something you can always have. I have to say that I guess you could say our common players or our favorite players in this particular group probably has to be Asher. We also have, gosh, I can never say their name right. Gang Darwang. We have some newcomers like Alpha the Axolotl. I hope I said that right. And honestly, I had no idea that an axolotl was an actual creature. I had to Google it. And then I'm like, oh, it's real? Shit. So there you go. I learned something new. We also have Puck Archimedes that has joined as well. Special shout out to Belks. We had Belka on our show about a month or 2 ago as a guest interview, but I do want to do a special shout out to Belks specifically. She actually had like a mini stroke, and so it had me worried, because I'm like, oh my God, no. Because Belks is really honestly like, I'm not saying that she is the glue that holds the group together, but she is just this wonderful furry who is always talkative in the chat, always sharing her passion, which I absolutely love when people share their passion. And just talks with everyone. And I absolutely love it when she does that. But I also want to I'm also glad that she is doing better. Thank God. Well, actually, I really don't know if I believe in God. So thank whoever universe. Yeah, there you go. I'm not a religious person. I really am not. We also have Skitherix, which is our editor, by the way. He's been editing a lot of our episodes as of recent. So if you've noticed how we've gone from somewhat okay editing to like A+ editing, and then of course you get today's editing, which is mine, not his. That's because Skitherix is just so good at knowing what to listen for and knowing what to edit out, and I can't think of enough for going through it. It's a lot of fun to edit episodes, because you get to like re-listen to everything that you talked about, but it also is a painstaking task, and it takes a while to do, because you got to like get rid of all the ifs and ands and ums and those noises and things like that. Not the ifs and ands, obviously, but I have to thank him specifically, because he does such a stellar job, and I can't thank him enough for it. besides that, in chat, we've got Skitherix, they're chatting a lot these days too. And I know we've gotten a few new newbers. And I am sorry if I've skipped over a few of you, but just know that I love all of you and I love the fact that you guys all chat with each other. And I think that's just amazing. I do want to take the time to go ahead and thank my team individually because they all do different things. Sparrow, we're calling her Sparrow now, aka Bean, aka Rory, aka Mothsicles. So, like, all of these different names. And I'm sure we're going to add another aka at some point again. She is like my right hand woman. I go to her for everything. Up until about the fall, she started teaching. So she actually now has an actual teaching job. And so she's not been on as many shows, but when we do get together, we always try to make sure that we produce a slam dunk of an episode. And I find that to be really amazing because she does have a lot of other things on her plate. So special thanks to her. She's been by my side for so many years, and I can't thank her enough for that. Also, that's been along my side for many years, actually in the Fur Media days, along with Sparrow, is Deer Dog. And if you had listened to one episode, Deer Dog, I don't know if we put this in, but Deer Dog actually specifically sought me out to specifically bring her onto the team because she wanted to be on our team so bad. And then so I'm like, send me your portfolio. And so she sent me a portfolio because she had to actually make one. But she is amazing. She initially just started as a graphic artist on the team, and then I actually incorporated her into as a host. So most of our team is actually just co-hosts or just hosts. If it's just me, it's a host. So if it's just one person, it's a host. And if it's two people, then it's co-host. And that's pretty much kind of like how we do it. Dear Doggo, she's hilarious. I feel like I have a good connection with all of my staff, but I have a different connection with them on different levels. And of course the chemistry that goes with that too, it's really special. And I absolutely just love, getting on with Deer Dog. We're going to be doing an episode coming up soon, and I'll talk about those at the end of the episode or at the end of today's episode. Because it's a really cool concept, and I'm going to be doing a concept like this. I'm going to try to do this if I can a couple of times throughout the year. And I'll explain what that is, like I said, at the end of the episode of this Thanksgiving special. But Dear Doggo has a dirty mind just like mine. And I think all our team members have a dirty mind. And that's what's so great. But it's not just dirty mind. They all click together. I make sure that everyone is comfortable with each other. And if something doesn't work, then you're cut. But I haven't cut someone for a really long time. I've had my team for quite a while. The only true newcomers is Ruby and Skitherix. Going after that, we have Boomy, also known as Boomstar. Boomstar is also another host. And I brought her on because I thought it'd be a lot of fun. She was just more or less like a moderator at one point. And then she did want to do a podcast, but that never actually panned out. And I wanted to pick it up really bad, but it never really, like I said, panned out. So then I'm like, you know what? I love Boomstar's spunk. I'm going to snatch her up. So I did. I snatched her up. And I love talking with her. We have that unique chemistry. She's a lot of fun. We get to explore a lot of different topics, actually species types of topics. It's a lot of fun when we get on to do notes, and I absolutely love getting on and doing notes with her because it's always a bunch of bullshitting. And then we do notes, and notes only takes 15 minutes, but the rest of the whole call was just something else. And she always catches me up on her love life and what's going on at home, work, and all that fun stuff. So I absolutely just love catching up with everyone. On top of that, we also have Ruby. Ruby's a newer host as well. Ruby joined she's gonna kill me. She joined a couple of months ago, I believe, or maybe a month or two ago. I don't know. I always felt like Ruby and I connected really well, especially in chat. And so I'm like, you know what? I could always use another perspective. So I brought on Ruby. Ruby is really knowledgeable. Ruby knows games and she knows her horror movies, as you know, from the horror movie episode. She is quite knowledgeable on a lot of different topics. She's also a teacher as well, and she is a graphic artist, but I didn't bring her on for being a graphic artist. I brought her on to be a host as well so that we can have that dynamic. And I just love Ruby and just chatting with her and then running episodes. So it's a lot of fun. And I can't wait to see what fun new things we have to, discuss about, in the coming years. And that's the great thing is I love having all these fun little like relationships that we have. And then our newest one, Skitherix. I'm going to have to go double check here. Staffo, right? So I don't really talk about me because, I'm thankful for myself because I talk to myself. No. Yeah. So Skitherix is our last one. Skitherix it's funny because like the whole team itself was 100% like just like this. Well, actually, I guess you could say we now have a complete spectrum of the scale. So we have, a gay, lesbian, transgender, pansexual, bisexual, and then we have a straight, which is Skitherix. Yay! But like I said before, Skitherix is really good with the audio, and he knows exactly what to listen for and what to edit out. And I love listening to the episodes now. I hated listening to them before he came on because I was so bad at editing, but I love listening to them now because it just sounds so smooth. And, I got to hand it to him. He does a really good job. So let's get on with our episode. We have 2 SpeakPipes. Now, we have a service called SpeakPipe where you guys can actually just leave us a voicemail. And it's up to 3 minutes right now, but it can go as high as 5 minutes. It just depends on what I want to set it at. And so you can leave your voice message if you ever want to. Just say, hi, how you doing? If you want to do a shout out for yourself, or if you have questions and you don't want to type an email, that's totally understandable. Maybe you want to do a happy birthday shout out for your friend. And then the cool thing about it is once you guys select OK and it submits and it goes straight to our Talk to the Muzzle email. So I can just go in there and grab the MP3 and put it in the show. It's really nice. So we got 2 because I asked if anyone could share a story about the holiday season, Thanksgiving. Sorry, I smell something really good. My husband's probably cooking. Yum. I haven't eaten. Anyways, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning right now. So we're going to go ahead and start off with Ari. Ari has 2 stories. Both of them are about being in retail, and it's ridiculous, both of the stories, especially when Ari kind of reveals like what goes on at the very end of this first story. And I just I honestly cannot believe it. So we're going to go ahead and just plug that in real quick. And then I will see you guys in just a few minutes.
Oh my God. Hi, cuties. So up until recently, I've worked in retail, specifically in a grocery store, and it was particularly crazy around Thanksgiving. I'm down in, at the time I was based in North Carolina, now I'm in college in Virginia, but around Thanksgiving holidays in the deep South, of course, everybody was buying all sorts of shit. And I was the front end manager at the time. And so, I had to make sure that no one was stealing any turkeys or anything like that. Last year, especially, turkeys were really expensive. And I had a lot of customers be real terse about prices with me, as though I controlled the prices. There was one time in particular I remember to be so memorable. There is one guy who always comes in, and he was at the time the town sheriff. And I already knew he didn't like me. Whatever, I can get over it. But at the time I was running a register, and he came through and he had all his Thanksgiving food. And then he also had a bunch of alcohol. And I was like, okay, sir, I need to see your ID because I'm on camera and I'm the manager. So I, of all people, need to card somebody. So I carded him. And he said, well, I don't need to show you that. Just write down a random day. I said, sir, I can't do that. I'm on camera. And he said, well, don't be ridiculous. Just write down a day. And I refused to write down a day, and he refused to show me his ID. And so he pulled a knife on me. And things escalated from there. Long story short, he ended up storming out of the place, having stolen one of the turkeys. And this is the county sheriff, by the way, who pulled a knife on me and stole a turkey. But whatever the fuck, we can get over it. There's another story where, because I'm non-binary, I was wearing my pronoun pin, and I was monitoring the self-checkout station, which at the store I worked at, there were about 20 self-checkout stations. And so people were coming through, and there's a item limit of 25 items per order. And so the machine will stop scanning after it hits the 25th item. And they also don't accept cash. And so, of course, during the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays, that was a mess. So I was running back and forth to get everything taken care of, and just back and forth, all sorts of customers misgendering me. I actually had one tell me that if I was so quote unquote mentally ill as to have to display my pronouns, then I shouldn't be working in the retail industry. But yeah, I don't work there anymore. I'm a wilderness guide. I love it much better here now. So yeah, it was good to talk to you. I've got like 4 seconds left. Goodbye.
So I think it's absolutely ridiculous that a sheriff pulls a knife and steals a turkey. Like, what? How podunk of a city do you like? Does this sheriff live in where he has to steal a turkey and pull a knife on someone? I mean, come on, you know you're not going to get away with that. And then the whole like, pronouns thing, like that's. I get it. Like, I think it's better when people wear like their pronouns on their apron or on their shirt or whatever they're wearing, because it makes it easier for me to make sure that I say the right pronouns. And I do apologize if I ever say them wrong as well. So I think the fact that you're a wilderness guide now is just amazing. So, yeah. So, hey, thanks for sending in your message. And I absolutely loved it. And I can't wait to see what you guys do for the future. I do have some stories regarding retail because I also worked retail for like 6.5 years. I have two stories. So I have Fondue Man, and then I have Satan's Children. it's ridiculous. I might have talked about Satan's Children before, but I'm going to kind of like bring it up again. But the first one was when I was working at Harmon's, which is like a high-end grocery store. It's kind of like Whole Foods, but bigger and kind of like same as like, stuck up people pretty much. Entitled people shop there. But I worked on the cheese island, and my job was to sell specialty cheese, not like deli cheese. We're talking like the cheese that costs like $30 a block, like $30 a pound and all that kind of stuff. But we make fondues, like bags of fondue for people to take home. And I remember this guy and his wife, and I'm going to say his wife that he picked up at the gym. I used to live in Draper, Utah, and Draper, Utah is a swinger city. So that's why, Jim. Anyways, totally, his wife looked like she had just walked out of a tanning salon, and she had stayed in there a little bit too long because she was too many shades of tan. It was gross. It was like the level of tan leather you expect to see on like a 70-year-old or an 80-year-old person that lives in Florida. So, but she looked like she was like plastic surgery up the wazoo. Anyways, they come up to to the island. We call it a cheese island because it's literally like an island. And then on the inside, we kind of do our jobs and stuff. And he's looking around all these different fondues. And we only have one type of cheese fondue. So he pulls up one. He's like, hey, I got a question. And I'm like, sure. And he's like, what is this? And I'm like, that is a bag of fondue cheese. And he's like, well, I know that, but like, what is it? I'm like, okay, so it's a compilation of like these types of Swisses. And so, there's that. And we try to put a pound on there so you guys have an accurate amount. And he's like, I'm not paying $20 for this. And I'm like, okay, well then you can just put it back down. You don't have to buy it. It's just there. And then he picks up another bag. And this bag is like half the size of the bag that he's holding. And he's like, what's this one? And I'm like, That's the same fondue. And he's like, no, it's smaller. And I'm like, well, yeah, because it's half the size. We probably just ran out. And he's like, hey, you don't need to be rude. And I'm like, you're the one that picked it up and asked, what's the difference between this one and this one when they both say the exact same thing on the front? And then, like, I had lost my patience because holidays, like working in the holidays, sucks balls because you're stressed out of your mind. And I just kind of like was just done with this guy. And I'm like, look, you know, you picked up the two packets. It clearly both says fondue. It has the same amount on, like, same information. The only difference is one is bigger and one is smaller, and so are the prices. And so he got mad and he went and complained, and I got in trouble. I actually got written up, but I'm like, whatever, I don't care. I thought it was warranted. Um, the other one was so Satan's children. So there are these kids that come in, and I call them Satan's children because they've got like pure white skin. So they're like albino kids, and then they have like pure white hair. And I'm not saying that like albinos in general are awful people. It's just these two kids are the spawn of Satan. The dad would come in, and the dad would just be like, whatever, and play on his phone. And these kids would go around the cheese island and stick their fingers and poke through these like perfectly wrapped cheeses that we took so much time to look pretty and present so it was ready for the weekend. And they would just go through and like stab their fingers through it. And I'm just like, are you serious right now? And like the dad didn't even care. And then I went and told like the manager, and I'm like, their kids are just going around and damaging product, and they need to pay for it because right now we're up to like 50, $60. And he's like, we're not going to make them pay for it. We'll just shrink it out. And I'm like, he needs to realize that his kids are causing him money and he's going to pay for it. They never did. And I got so mad at that. But I'm so glad I don't work at a grocery store anymore. Our next SpeakPipe story comes from Ryan, and his story is about what was that? Oh, maybe that came from the kitchen. I thought I heard like something crash down. Again, weird sounds and baking. So his story comes about working at like a donation store, and he'll talk about that here in just a second. And so I have so many questions for Ryan, but I'm going to go ahead and just let you guys listen to Ryan.
All right, so I worked at Goodwill during the holidays. And I worked as a donation attendant. Holy crap, the amount of Christmas trees we got that year, it was last year, it was ridiculous. Who knew fake trees could be so darn heavy? It was ridiculous. And we got overwhelmed. It was crazy the amount of stuff people would donate. Like, holy crap. It is just insane. But otherwise, nothing really too crazy happened, but just we had to stuff a lot of stuff in the back and whatnot.
So my question here is plastic trees. Who donates their plastic tree? The whole point of a plastic Christmas tree is so that you can put it back in the box and then put it away and you pull it out the next year, right? It would make, I mean, I would get it if people were donating their, already cut like fresh trees, but it's crazy that they get so many plastic Christmas trees. Like, what do you do with that? I don't even know. I think at this point, what I would do, I would honestly do this. I'd wrap it up like in like wrapping paper, put a really crappy bow on it, and I would just drop it off at random people's houses and be like, "Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa," or whatever, and just leave it there. It'd be funny, be like the people that donated the tree, you just go back and take the tree back and say, "Merry Christmas, I'm regifting it." La 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 la. Anyways, I decorate my office all the time throughout the year, and so I've actually become really well known in medical records, just at my hospital, for all the decorations that I have in my house. People stop in all day long, and they're like, "I love what you have. Where did you get it? How do you come up with this stuff?" And I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like regular offices and doctors' offices are so boring, and they're always like plastered in white walls, and no one wants to look at a white wall, especially when they're waiting for records. So why not have books, coloring books out, for kids to play with? And why not have things that you can constantly look at in the office and bring joy? So that's what I have. And I'm going to be decorating for Christmas. So tomorrow, which is Friday, the 26th, and I will take pictures and then put that in the Telegram group. So if you guys want to see pictures of that, you need to go to the Telegram group. Another reason to join. Anyways, that's pretty much the end of our Thanksgiving special show. And I want to thank you guys all for always listening and sending in your emails and tweeting us and participating in the chat. It's always great to see people participating in the chat. I love seeing that. And I also participate too when I remember to. I do check it daily. I just don't always pop in and say something, but I try. Some things that are coming up in 2022. We've started to change the dynamic of how we do our episodes so that we don't get burned out. And we're not going to be doing multiple seasons throughout the year. We're just going to be doing one season for the whole year. And how that'll work is we have a break in December. And then in January, we'll produce. We'll produce for 2 months, take a break for 1, produce for 2, take a break for 1. So we'll go January, February, break for March, come back in April, May, break for June, and then come back in July. I know that Pride Month is in June, so that'll be a special spaced out episode. And that's kind of like how we're going to be doing our dynamic, because it'll just make it a lot easier for us. That way we don't get so tired and, oh my God, what are we going to do? Kind of a thing. Not that we ever get like that. Some episodes to look forward to in the next season. So season 8. Dear Dog and I are doing a show about creating characters using mood boards. So creating personas and characters based off of a mood board. Now, I won't give any more detail to it because there's a lot of special fun things that are going to be going on. This will be a visual show. So you'll have to watch that one on YouTube specifically. And the number will it'll be weird because it'll go like season 8, episode 2, and you'll be like, wait, where's episode 1? It's on YouTube. So that's where that's going to be. Boomy and I are doing an episode about dragons, all things dragons, their culture, different, points of view from different cultures from around the world, species and all that fun stuff. And then, of course, there's going to be a spaced out episode like always, in every month regardless. And then I'm also going to be doing a show about aqua furries. Those are furries that are specifically the species that just kind of deal with water. So we're going to be doing that as well. And I thought that'd be kind of fun. Aquifer, get it? Anyways, thanks for listening. You guys know where to message us. If you guys ever have any questions, and if you ever want to send us a message, either voicemail, you can do that through SpeakPipe. And we're going to have that available now on our information. And you can also email us at talktothemuzzle@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, guys, and we will see you guys in the new year. Bye.